When it comes to a good TV show turning bad, most often the biggest enemy is, quite simply, time. Most shows will find their peak around the season 3 to 4 mark, and while they'll run a lot longer, it's often in a state of creative decline. Take The Simpsons, for example. There's not one decision where you can pinpoint the exact moment the show's quality was ripped in half. Yes, Principal and the Pauper was a misstep, but there are broader issues around the writing of Homer, Lisa, Flanders, and so on that all combine to the gradual decline of the series. For some shows, however, the decline can happen in an instant, or in the time it takes the fans to jump over a shark. Sometimes one bad decision is all it takes, and that show you loved so dearly is suddenly a shadow of its former self. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 TV shows ruined by one dumb decision. Number 10. Prison Break. Having a second season. Prison Break is a good example of how sometimes less is more, and that not all TV shows need to come back for another season. During its first year, there was a very clear concept, the titular Prison Break, which was executed brilliantly. It was fresh, exciting, and among the best shows on TV at the time. And then the Prison Break succeeded, so what came next? That really could have been the end of the show. It's called Prison Break, and they've broken out of prison. Creator Paul T. Schuring has revealed that he had the first season mapped out in total detail, but that was it. And then the network asked him to bring it back, and he agreed to stretch it out. That's a fitting line, because while season 2 was still pretty good, the show got progressively worse over its original 4-season run. The plots were stretched thinner, the situations became more ludicrous, and it became rather terrible TV over time. Sure, you can make a case for it ending after season 2 instead, but the first is so far above everything that would come after that, it's really not worth it. Number 9. Twin Peaks. Forcing Lynch to reveal the killer. Twin Peaks is, quite rightly, revered as one of the most groundbreaking pieces of television ever produced. The 8-episode first season is a masterclass in building tone and mystery, but it's in the second, after one of the show's greatest moments no less, that things went off the rails. In season 2, Twin Peaks was struggling in the ratings, and so the ABC bosses forced David Lynch's hand. He had to reveal who killed Laura Palmer, the mystery central to the entire series. Lynch did so with his usual style, unveiling Leland Palmer overcome by Bob as the killer in an episode so mesmeric, so unhinged, and so goddamn terrifying that it'll haunt your every waking and sleeping moment long after watching. Because of that though, relations between Lynch and the network were broken. He didn't work on another episode of season 2 until the finale, and in the intervening period the show became a goofy, laughable mess. No one hates season 2 more than David Lynch hates season 2, and thank the Lord he came back with Twin Peaks: The Return. Number 8. Angel. Connor and Cordy. Season 4 of Angel made a lot of missteps, and especially so with the character of Cordelia Chase, but no one moment is more ruinous to the show than the decision to write Cordelia having sex with Angel's son Connor. Cordelia, who by this stage had become a higher power, comforts Connor while the city around them burns, which leads to the pair slapping it while Angel looks on. Yes, that's Cordelia, who at the start of the episode had said that she still loved Angel, having sex with Connor, who, by rights, should be the world's least shagged man. That's Cordelia, who was, for all intents and purposes, a mother to Connor when he was a baby. That's Cordelia, who became a higher power despite the cost. And sure, you can spin it as the work of Jasmine or whatever else crappy writing Joss Whedon wants to twist it as, but the fact is the person we're watching looks like Cordelia and, for a lot of it, feels and thinks like her too. It's a betrayal of the character because the reveal that it wasn't Cordy comes too late, and while season 5 was pretty good, the Cordelia stuff remains a huge black cloud over happy memories of the show. Number 7. Dallas. It was all a dream. Dallas was one of the biggest TV shows of its time, reaching insane highs with storylines such as Who Shot JR, but it did inevitably start to flag in both the ratings and creativity. The show killed off one of its stars, Patrick Duffy's Bobby Ewing, in season 8, which led to the 9th season's ratings sagging, and so the execs needed something to make a big splash in season 10. And so at the beginning of the show's 10th season, Pamela Ewing awoke in her bed and went into the bathroom and found Bobby in the shower, perfectly fine and very much alive. It had all been a dream, and by all, I mean an entire 30-episode season of television. What a waste of time. Number 6. Gilmore Girls, April Nardini. It takes something very special for one character to bring down an entire TV show, but that's what April Nardini did when she walked into Stars Hollow back in season 6 of Gilmore Girls. April herself was annoying, which didn't help, but it's more what she represented than any one characteristic. This was a warm and weird world, and April walked into it like something out of a soap opera. It felt completely at odds with the show up to that point, and was very clearly designed as a late-in-the-day device to push Luke and Lorelai apart. Not long after the introduction of April, the series' creator Amy Sherman Palladino would depart, leaving season 7 in lesser hands that would oversee rushed storylines and that awful Lorelai-Chris marriage plot, a lot of which was brought upon us by introducing this long-lost daughter who never should have existed. Number 5, Arrested Development, Netflix reviving it. Next time on Arrested Development, the revival you've been waiting for, as emerging streaming service Netflix makes a big splash by bringing the show back better than ever before. It seemed like such a glorious time to be an Arrested Development fan back in 2013. The cult favorite and critical darling, which was so far ahead of its time in its original run that it was cancelled purely because audiences clearly weren't ready for it, was back. The cast and crew were returning. This was going to right all the wrongs. Except, of course, the TV landscape had since caught up and surpassed Arrested Development, and getting the cast back together was an impossible task, which meant splitting the show up, losing the magic in the process. It then returned again 5 years later and still wasn't the same, and this year's effort hardly made a dent in the pop culture terrain. It's a shadow of its former self and proof that sometimes things are better left off dead. Or in other words, they blew it. Number 4, How I Met Your Mother, killing the mother off so quickly after a full season at a wedding. How I Met Your Mother was already in decline for the couple of seasons prior to its last, but we knew it was all in service of building towards Ted finally meeting the mother. Less excusable was deciding that the final season, all 24 episodes of it no less, would be set over the course of one single weekend. Even that, however, could have been tolerable if they nailed the momentous occasion with the mother, and in fairness, the signs were there that they would. We saw her come into each of the gang's lives before the meet-cute with Ted. And then it kept on going, quickly showing us the big events of their life, marriage, kids, before the mother gets sick, dies, and Ted goes off to get back together with Robin. Wait, what? It's not so much a problem with that idea. Ted and Robin as the endgame of the series actually works in theory, but it's rather in the execution. After wasting an entire season at a wedding, we then get what feels like 5 minutes of Ted and Tracy together. Then she's killed off in a death that's skipped over in about 2 seconds, and then it moves on to that big romantic ending with Robin. It's all just too much. Number 3, Sherlock. Bringing Sherlock back without a proper explanation. Sherlock started out as a fiendishly clever reimagining of Arthur Conan Doyle's works, transplanting the detective into a modern setting with a lot of visual pizzazz, sharp wit, and excellent lead performances from Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. And then came the fall. The Reichenbach Fall itself is one of Sherlock's best episodes, but it's what comes after that ruins it. The show returns with little to no real explanation of how Sherlock actually survived, instead content to thumb its nose at viewers and the many fan theories that had sprung up. From there, things would only get worse. A swerve into comedy followed, and then in season 4, we got a series of increasingly convoluted plot points that became ridiculous to the point of parody. And that goddamn Mind Palace, what the hell were they thinking with that? That downward turn, however, is rooted in that decision to bring Sherlock back at all, and more so in how they did it, with the show going from clever but knowing to creators Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss disappearing up their own arses. Number 2, Dexter, that ending. For its first few seasons, Dexter was a thrilling entry into the golden age of TV trend of male anti-heroes, with the spin on serial killers offering up plenty of excitement alongside strong character work. It declined, as most long-running shows do in its last couple of seasons, but if it hadn't done anything drastically terrible in its final moments, then its legacy would largely still be intact. But after 8 years of leaving a bloody trail, Dexter doesn't get any sort of comeuppance in the end. There's no big death or no jail sentence for him. Instead, the big death goes to his sister Deborah, who after being shot ends up on life support, which Dexter then switches off. As if that undeserved ending wasn't bad enough though, things got worse when Dexter sailed his boat into a hurricane and ended up coming out alive and absolutely fine. And apparently living in Oregon where he can just live out the rest of his days as a lumberjack. All we're left with after that is this blank stare of an ending. Number 1, The Walking Dead, the cliffhanger. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. God, I hate this freaking show. The Walking Dead had already made one supremely stupid choice in Season 6 when it decided to pull the Glenn death fake out, but it managed to recover well from the ire to deliver an extremely strong run of episodes. From the incredible mid-season premiere No Way Out up until the final moments of the finale, the show was on an absolute tear. It was intense, exciting, and the introduction of Negan was everything it needed to be. Well, until it wasn't. The pitch-perfect delivery, the fear he struck into the hearts of the heroes and viewers alike, it was all set up for the biggest impact possible, and then it cut to black. It robbed what should have been the show's biggest death of its necessary weight, pissed people off, and was just a cheap trick designed to ensure fans returned for the Season 7 premiere, which they did before the ratings then started plummeting completely. So that's our list. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Did these moments ruin these shows for you as they did me, and which have I missed off here? And while you're down there, could you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to whatculture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't though, I've been Josh, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.